Hello, everyone, and welcome back for another Design Cuts live session. This is, in fact, the final session of our wonderful typography event that's been happening the last couple of days. And I am thrilled to welcome for her first session ever with us, actually, Asha Mody. How are you, Asha?
Yay, thank you, Tom. I'm doing great and so excited to be here on your platform for first time. So happy to be here.
Well, we're thrilled to welcome you. You are actually a really, really, really interesting talent. So it's going to cover all kinds of areas that we've never covered before today, which I'm very excited about. We're going to look a bit at advertisements. I know you're also a specialist with packaging design. And these areas we haven't talked about a huge amount on the show. So I think it's going to be super valuable for the community.
Yeah, sounds good. And I'm very excited to share my knowledge and experience in advertising and typography and packaging with this event today. So yeah, I'm ready
Amazing.
when you're ready.
I love your backdrop, by the way. It's beautiful. Some very cool artwork there.
Yeah, typography. I had made some my custom font hand letter. I used to do it earlier days and cutouts of the fonts and follow some legend typographers, and I've done some of the work, and some of them are ready.
It's a little bit similar, actually. I've got the ampersand and you've got the high.
Yes, I can see on your backdrop. So that's my favorite end-person sign. That's very graceful.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, without further ado, I'm going to hand over to you because I know you have so much to share today and I'm excited to jump in. So yeah, over to you, please.
Cool. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. And today I'm going to talk more about how typography affects advertising. And my name is Asha Mody. I'm in design industry from last 10 years in US and India, and I work for international market like Canada and Europe also. I'm fortunate to work with Inc. 500 company and get featured my work in world packaging design. I am certified brand strategist, and I learned that because I used to see the creativity and the business used to have a gap. So I studied myself how to make more meaningful and purposeful design, which can bring the results to the business. And I'm on the mission to support health and wellness industry, and through my talent and service to bring purposeful and meaningful brands mindfully to the world for this generation and upcoming generation. So I generally, when I have learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So this typography especially is my favorite topic because typography can make the people's emotion evoke and make them feel how they need to feel about themselves or the design. So this quote is from Maya Angelou, and it really connects with me that people will never forget how it made them feel through your design, through your behavior, or through the typography. So let's dig in.
I love that quote.
Thank you. So today's just rough agenda. I'm going to run over importance of typography and effective principles of advertising, and anatomy of advertising, what are the main ingredients of the advertising, and why typography is important and how to use them. And I'll demo my process of ad design in Photoshop, and we'll open for the Q&A. So if I talk, what is advertising? Advertising is the art of persuasion, and persuasion happens to be not a science, but an art. It's written by William Benchberg, who is a creative innovator and a key player in the advertising world. He was known as a creative revolutionary in the advertising world. He had made this campaign with the Volkswagen Think Small. It was one of the best advertisement in the industry so far because that brought the results. And he had collaborated with Paul Rand, where Paul Rand is an influential graphic designer. Many of you must be knowing it, but they partnered it and worked on this campaign. But the crucial element, what I've learned from his research and understanding, is the idea and the messaging is the crucial ingredients of the advertisement. So he was the revolutionary, making that the message what you give in the advertisement, that's a main ingredient of the ad layout. And if we dive in little bit of statistics, let's see what is the impact of advertisement in the market. Like 45% on the planet, people are using all the different social media platforms. 80% of shoppers make their shoppers decision and purchase they are planning to make by seeing the YouTube videos. It's by Think with Google, they had sources this information. 37.2% of US digital shareholder are from Google and Facebook for only the digital ads. Connect Digital had released the data of $247 billion are spending in global mobile ad industry. And by 2021, and they are forecasting $375 billion for the ad market. So advertising has a really big impact in our economy. I want to just share some cool facts and my favorite ads. Like, do you ever know? Like, it's the most expensive ad ever made is from Channel. They have a video on YouTube. The film, it was released in 2004. It cost $33 million to make this one
I
ad.
remember that one. I had no idea. It was so expensive.
It was so expensive because it was a lavish perfume ad and it was kind of a filming, and Nicole Kidman was starring. And of course, Baz Luhrmann was directing the movie. And also, if you get a chance to see Tom as Guinness, like a tipping point, it was released in 2007 and it costed $1,600 million. And it is very witty and delight, and the arrangement of the books, and it shooted in the Argentina. And it's really fun to see these ads with the amount of money they have put it in it. And so advertising is really expensive, but let's see how the typography is making impact with that. So currently I notice everybody is really suffering from COVID, everybody from children to adults to senior on the Zoom calls. From morning 7 a.m. to night, they are all on Zoom calls. So this was a very fun ad. I came across KitKat. It was a really smart ad they have made, that have a break at 3 p.m. Have a break, have a KitKat. So very simple typography ad they have made, and the concept is brilliantly done. And especially on the right, if you see the ad from the IKEA when Apple Computer was launching Mac Pro Book, and it is a really clever. They got to know they are releasing it, and in Bulgaria, IKEA, they jumped on the creative studio. Smart Studio is a studio who made this ad. So it was like a very tagline designed for apples. It's very cheesy and graded apple, but if you see closely, the I of the product name, the idealist, the I of the product name is the lowercase, and it is like very smart move to make the product name with a small I and connected with the apple. So I kind of like that's very smart and interesting. The type is simple, but how they can make a different change and make it interesting. So what is typography? Let's just get on it. So typography is the art of arranging a message in a readable and aesthetically pleasing composition way. So why typography is important in advertising? So generally it is important because typography has power and it can invoke the emotions. It causes to feel a personal connection with a brand. It feels very confident about the product and service. Like imagine if you are using a Nike shoes, how you feel confident about that brand. But whenever you see the Nike ad or the mark, the emotion is connecting, the trust is built up with the typography logo and competitive, repetitive ad around you. It tells the consumer what they are reading and why it is important to them. How can they solve the pain points, or how can be useful for them? Only typography message can solve that through the advertisement. It's a great advertising tool which grabs the reader's attention, engage them, and make them clear understanding about the message, that why it is useful. And strategically, typography, if you design, it makes the reading process effortless, and it creates the product and service advertisement not only increase the revenue, but people can really connect with the product and the brand can create the brand loyalty and have their consumer for all-time buying consumers. So ad typography really makes a big impact on consumer minds, like how you pursue the message, how you make them understand. And the words are powerful. So words, the way the information is presented can have an impact on people's mind, on readers' perceptions. So for example, you can see this McDonald: eat fast, die young. It's very simple, but it is so impactful, right? It is powerful. So the copywriting, the messaging plays a really huge role in advertisement. Couple of ad I would like to see. On the left first poster, if you see the US government propaganda poster, it was done in 1943 when it was a government campaign to urge the public to conserve their resources necessary for the war effort. So look at the typography, it was very bold, and it was the message: when you write alone, you write with Hitler. And the alone is in all caps. And that creates that emotion in you. And they're inviting to join the car sharing club. And that's the carpooling thing started. On the second ad, if you see, which I really like, the Opel had launched a campaign to warn about the consequences of texting while driving. So what makes this ad different from similar illustration is that using is nothing but more than a black background. It's like a short lines of this text. If you read that, it is very understandable statement. And the moment you see this ad, you know that you will never do it again. So it is very simple. The black space is so clean, and the negative space is talking and emphasizing on the small statement on the left corner.
That's
On the
genius.
third,
That
isn't
middle
that?
example. Yeah, because it made me reread it about 5 times. And what you want with your design is people to absorb it and take it in and look at it, right? And I couldn't glance past it because it was almost frustrating, because I was like, I need to check what that says, you know?
Yes, absolutely. And that's what the ad should do to you. If you observe what happened with you, you got engaged. You hold your attention more than 3 seconds of time on that ad. You're trying to read. And that's the advertising should do. You have a capture of attention, and they have done really clever job on that. And the company Absolute Vodka, it was ad from the spoof ad. Like it tells you that when you are having the alcohol, if you see that DOA tag, it shows you and takes you in that moment that if you are having too much of alcohol, you can, die early. But I think it was very clear. That tag shows you death of early thing, and the visual images also speak so effectively, but the typography is so bold statement and absolutely on the eyes. You are lying on the eyes, but they're promoting alcohol too, but what happens with it? So it was a really good, clever concept. So there are general anatomy of advertisement, the main key ingredients. So I will walk you through in next couple of slides. So what are the main things you can keep in mind while using the typography, and what are the anatomy of ad? So generally it's a headline which really gets the first attention of the user. It has to be bold, fun, strong, easy to read, and the background visual which really complement and speaks the message. Like here you can see, make yourself fit. But the fit is, they are showing it through the running shoes and those muscles, and the ad is like creating one of the atmosphere. And then we have a subheading, body copy, brand mark. That's a mark, not the logo right now. It's a brand mark, but also very important thing is call to action. What should ad do to your consumer or your user or your readers, right? So that call to action is what is the objective about this ad doing it. So there are a couple of principles to keep in mind when you are designing ad. It should be easy to understand. It should be the goal directed. What is the goal? You want to hit the emotion. You want them to buy your product or services. What is the goal? How are you going to pursue it then? How are you going to convert them? The most important thing, hierarchy, the information, how are you going to flow on the ad? And it should be distinctive and recognizable, like not to get in the noisy internet market, otherwise it get lost. So what kind of visual and complementary things you use so you can hold the attention of user, like the black ad you got, we just see it. So how to use advertisement, typography in advertisement, there are a couple of factors. I see, for me, the letters are like people. It forms a relationship. Some relationships are close, some others are very loose, but the relationship are the ones that make sense and works well together. Those are the relationship we want to make. Um, so in the next slide, you can see this is on the left. If staying home is more dangerous than speak up, the typography is flowing, it's hand crafted type and really good arrangement done on the piece of mouth. Her eyes are talking really visually, creating that emotion. And on the middle, if you see, then when you lose a leg, you don't just lose a leg. So there is so much emotion, and especially using a different tone of the gray shades and different sizes of the type and filling up that lost space, loose leg space with the typography. It filling up the blank, but it creates emotion within you. It creates that pain within you. It creates that sense. So it can impact on people's mind. On the Reebok ad also, you see it's powerful, very strong, bold strokes, handwritten the brush strokes, and it has momentum going on. And call to action, be more human. The more is in red, everything is in black, and the shoe side I can see in the red. And it really complements with the body contour line. So typography and the visual really makes a really good relationship with each other.
These examples are fantastic, Asha.
Thank you.
Everyone in the chat is saying they love the typography and that kind of hand-drawn treatment on these three in particular. Really good.
Yes, yes. And I have seen so many the brushes and design cut especially provides, which becomes really handy to make those strokes. And I'll share more example how I use it. But typography and that moment you create and if it makes a relationship with the visual, it really becomes a meaningful and purposeful design.
Mm-hmm.
So certain thing I keep in mind, like what kind of fonts can create emotions and personality traits. It's really important to get engaged with that user with creating emotions in them. So everybody must be knowing about this font, but I'm just going to walk you through like a sans serif font. They are very, they don't have particularly like a positive or negative personality, but it creates a modern business sense. It's very quality and efficient and no nonsense feeling. So if you really want to talk bold message, the sans serif is the best thing to talk in ad. It can be best for the web also if you're doing a digital ads. And the serif fonts are they have a decorative element that tail with it. Serif fonts are more like related, stable, matured, and more practical. And it's best for print, but you can have a combinations too, and I can show you how. And the script fonts are more feminine and funny. And you saw in the previous ads, so the script font or handwritten fonts, it creates a fluidity. It creates a momentum. It creates more personal attention. The modern fonts, I like those they're very assertive and muscular, but their characters are like between they do not have much variant between thin and thick strokes. Like sans serif would have different variety of the font, which has a thick and thin contrast in the strokes, but modern fonts are mostly equal on the thickness. Which is more also works for digital ads or digital web work. Monospace, I'm not a big fan of it, but it's more dull and plain, and I feel it's more unimaginative. You can use creatively in certain aspect, but I feel it is more designed if you want to really show something typewriting thing if you want to show, then the monospace is a better thing. I think it's best for the coding or purpose.
Not your favorite.
But it's okay, favorite. But I
Yeah.
want, I don't know if Tom, if it's okay, I want to connect with all the people who are in the chat box and want to play a game, like not a game, like,
Yes, we love that.
yeah. So let's do interact. I want to hear their opinions. And there are 3 questions here. I want question 1, which typeface is the most appropriate for the each word? Because when you're choosing a type, it should be meaning and it should relate with the word. So on the Q1, you will see there is an option steel word. Type in the chat, and Tom, you can monitor it. Which A, B, C, D, which option is more suitable? Which font is more appropriate for the steel word? Steel word. And then
Perfect. So we're doing just Q1 to start with.
yeah,
And
you can do Q2 and Q3 also, like a Rome, for example, which is more appropriate typeface for the Rome, for the circus. And you can see different answers, trust me. And I want to see if people are typing in the chat.
okay, I'm seeing
Which
a lot of
one good?
D for steel. Yeah,
Perfect. It's
95%, I think,
strong.
is saying D. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What about Rome?
Okay, let's do Rome next. So for question 2, Rome, what does everyone think? I'm going to wait for some more answers to come in. Question 2 is more of a mix. People are less sure on this one. I'm seeing some C's. I'm seeing some B's. I think more C's, probably.
More C's. What do you think, Tom?
Yeah, see, I was scared to say in case I get it wrong, but
There's nothing wrong, right? But what connects more with the Rome?
Yeah, I was kind of drawn to C, potentially. Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Because the B option is more like an antique kind and old, but the Rome is having that graceful. And I love the Rome architectures and the swoosh around their type. So it relates more with C. And for the circus, I would like to see in the chat, what are people thinking about the circus?
Yeah, let us know in the chat. Question 3, what is your answer? I personally, I don't want to influence people. I'm seeing a lot of B's. I think B, for sure.
B, okay. So it's so important to really observe and think what typeface is appropriate for the word you are trying to message in ads or anywhere in your design.
That's such a fun exercise, actually.
Yeah, isn't that fun? So I
Yeah,
think
I
as
could
a
do that all day.
designer, observation is a really key. Like, how can you observe things and learn from it? So even the second, I feel the reading sequence in the advertising is very important, because viewers, they processes the messages in certain order. We have a natural reading sequence within our brain. So it's a very crucial part in ad design, that what are the visual hierarchy. When you are designing, you are like a navigator to them, where you want them to stop first. What are the visual stopping point, where you want them to see first and see second and see third. And I apply that rule in packaging design also. Where do they want to hold their attention first? What should they read first, second, and third? And as a designer, it's our job to guide them. You can see in the Coke ad, like a share a Coke with, is that my eye is going there, then I'm going in the word of Alexa, then body copy, and then I see the Coca-Cola logo mark, and then last I'm seeing the Amazon Alexa. So information, how do you flow it, and easy digestible way, so it's not confusing, and you are just having a power to drive your consumer what to read first and what to read last.
Love it. I wonder how many people are watching this without headphones and you just triggered their Alexa by saying it.
Oh yeah. So Alexa is just listening us all the time. It scares me sometimes though, but
yeah, I know.
Our all data is going. The second thing I already mentioned about the font choice in the exercise we did. So good font choices are which are bold fonts are easy to read, and a good shape of the letters, and they have a good space between, and it looks more balanced, and especially works with the headers. And if you can see at the bottom the bad font choice, and especially the squish script font, and it's like a blob, it's like a typewriter style font, but it spreads out so far that your eyes have to just jump on word by word. So it's not like an easy flow, and it's kind of confusing. So
Hmm.
make a good
What
font choice.
what is your heading font there?
I think it's Tahoma. Oh, sorry, Futura.
For the good font choice.
Austin.
Austin. Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Austin with the Gotham. Yeah. I'm
Hmm.
going to show you the complementary font, which is very fun way and exercise. One thing I want to make also interesting is a visual tone. The typography has a power to create the different visual tone. If you guys are in the chat, you squint your eye and see this ad, and you will notice there are different areas of the text. It can take different tones of grays. It's a block of text. It's some of that make it lighter, some of make it darker, and the tracking and leading also plays a big role in it. So why it's important? So because visual tone brings the interest on the page design. Like it creates a fun and variety or dramatic contrast on the page. So with the typography you're playing, make sure like you have an opportunity to create visual tone. It try to grabs attention and holds it for a longer time. I feel it's more interesting. From the leading plays a really good role when you are doing the visual tone. Leading is, everybody must be knowing, it's a horizontal white space between the text lines. And generally, if you type on computer, the general formula, they have like a 10-point type into 20%. So which is 2 point, and 10 plus 2 is 12 points. So if you type any font in any Word document or anywhere, you will see 10-point size will have a 12-point leading. For me, it is little tight, because if you have, like in option A, if you have a X height with the longer ascender and descender, or the condensed type, it looks better with the loose leading. And on the option B, if you see, the tight leading works if your X height is a little shorter in ascender, and descenders are not bothering too much. And if you have a script kind of handwritten font, the looser leading is also best for the script, because display fonts have those extra swooshes and the decorative elements. So it's a looser thing, leading is must. So for my personal rule of thumb is, I do extra 1 or 2 points. If it is a 10, I would just go around 14 to have more readability. And readability and legibility is a crucial element in ad design in everywhere, I think, and typography leading plays a huge role.
Absolutely. Asha, I'd love just to read a couple of comments from the live chat. Um,
Yes,
I, I,
absolutely.
I think you can't see it, right? Because you're sharing your screen.
No.
Okay, so really active. I think everyone's really enjoying this session. Bill, who's one of our longtime community members,
Yay,
says
thank you
this
for now
this
letting
is
me
a
know.
wonderful session full of tons of helpful information. And Amy says,
Oh,
honestly, this is everything I did in my typography course in a month, condensed into 1 hour. Amazing. So people are really loving this information.
oh, I'm so thrilled to hear. Thank you so much. To be honest, I was a little nervous, and this was first time doing it. So thank you for
It,
letting
it,
me know, and I'm so
it's great.
excited.
And a little confession, Asha. So we have Jem on our team who's behind the scenes right now in the chat. And during these sessions, we kind of chat as well, just to make sure everything runs smooth. And Jem was saying to me this is one of her favorite presentations because she finds it
Oh,
so fascinating. So I think everyone's loving it, basically. So don't be
thank you,
nervous.
Jen.
It's great.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you for sharing, Tom. It means a lot to me. Thank you. Uh, so let's go to the color of the type, and how can we stand out in this? The color gives the tone and the texture. It creates certain emotion, the warm and the cool colors, right? But the most important is optimal readability. So if you see on your right side, our maximum readability is the goal. Typography plays a huge role in it. If it is not readable, it's useless piece. It's just an art, I would say. And the contrast actually increases the legibility, right? So if you are having, especially if you haven't seen it, people uses black background with the white text. So color on color is okay, but black and white, it creates, if it is a longer sentence, if you see the halo effect on the edge of the type, and it creates a halo effect. So be careful with that. And similar tone value, like if you can see the last two, pink and yellow, the similar tonal value also. See, the type is placed well. It's really clean typeface, easy to read on the black and simple background. But if it is going tone on tone effect, it is hard to read. So color plays an important role on readability also. And varying the sizes, I really love to do this. The contrast plays a big role, like, and what kind of typeface you are using it, right? I'm a serious headline. Oh, and I'm a bit more fun headline. So how you want to portray the ad or the layout, it depends on that. But especially in advertisement, varying the sizes for headlines, the first words is the readers noticing. So how we are going to do it, that's important. So standing out on the rest of the page, it sets the tone of the document. On the left, what do you feel? What is the tone of the document? And on the right, if you see, it is more fun, and the left is more serious. So in this powerful, and the typography has power to set the tone of the document and create that emotion. So I generally see 20 to 24 points, but sometimes if I want the dramatic, I go more like 190, 180 points too. It depends on the design.
There are no rules. I mean, there's some rules, but you can break the rules.
If you know the rules, you can break the rules. Yes, for sure. And I'll show you how we are breaking. I have an example here coming up. So complementary type pairs, I think in my earlier stage of design, I used to always get confused that what typeface goes with what typeface, which complements each other. So like if you see on the right, if especially if you're using too less fonts, also it gets dull. And when you are using too many fonts in the layout, it becomes chaotic. And a rule is like feature 2 fonts or maximum 3 fonts, I would say, and distinguish between the type. Like if you see Baskerville header and the Garamond, they are more similar type. So it's not working that great, where Futura and Helvetica is also both sans serif. So making more readable and legibility, I would always suggest to combine the fonts. Like if you see the Baskerville with Futura and Garamond with Helvetica, it's a good examples I can share. So there's a fun exercise, I do it. And if anybody wants to learn how to choose the right combination of the type, you can do it by yourself. Like set the font and A4 page, similar headlines, similar body copy, similar bold and styling, and print 3-4 fonts and put it on your wall and see. I have done on your right side, you can see the Garamond, Futura, Baskerville, and Helvetica. And I asked this certain questions. Do they work well together, or do they conflict with each other? Like which ones are better for the headlines, I feel, and which one are better for the smaller body copy, or which ones are like a better for the italic or bold. Like Garamond, I like in italic also, and for headline also. Like, so just observe, pause, and see that what is your gut feeling saying. Generally your gut feelings are always right, and you have to be a little cautious about it. Like do not rely always on the same typeface and same set for every design. And especially that's why I'm a big fan of Design Cut, because they have new font bundles coming up, and they have a fun way to show the contrast type and how can you use them. It just give me lots of data for my visual visual library, like the different typeface. Because if I'm using the same set of fonts, what will happen is your work will be more predictable. You know what's coming. Then the creative,
you
it will
get caught in your
be,
comfort zone, right?
yeah, you're going in your comfort zone, so it will become less creative. So sometimes just play with the type. And I have done this one of the artwork, like I just printed bold types and I cut it and started placing with it. So do some fun exercise and you'll see that how much knowledge it becomes, which pairs can go with which pair. So this is fun exercise, keep in your back tool pocket whenever you come in that situation. So here, Tom, your favorite part, breaking the rules. So, and this is one of my best favorite billboard I had ever seen. And this was the manifesto called The Meaningful Design and Question of the Role of Designers in the Society. Mr. Kalman was extremely agitated. This quote is from there: "Stay away from corporations that want you to lie for them." This was designed specially for AIGA conference in 2001 in Las Vegas. And in Vegas, it was on the huge backdrop billboard they had
That's really
created.
powerful.
It's so powerful, but I'm going to say that why this was created. So Kalman was extremely agitated. He saw that graphic designer win awards for packaging design and pretty looking design, and that's not socially. It was so socially irresponsible. And that time, so in his New York time, he has a MN company, his studio. He stopped taking the corporate accounts and started working for more social impact. And he wanted to encourage designers and tell them that we have the power to make impact to the world. Design should not be only looking pretty. It can be more meaningful and purposeful. And that's what I'm teaching in my course too. But like, we are not like order takers of design. We have power to make a design. And this was the best quote by Tiber Kalman I have seen. But if we dissect this design, if you see, there is a venerable technique has been used, which sequentially presenting in the 6 panels and breaking the rule. No more 2 of typography. There are more than 3 to 4 typefaces in this. But it works because the pictorial fragments are also talking in behind. It has more ribbons. It's a conventional ribbons. Ribbons is like it's conventing you. Those seen away from the people is running. See the corporation tag, and it's like showing the car tires and corporation, right? That want you to. So it's on the horse riding. So pictures are talking and really having a good relation with type. But if you read together, it's a complete the sentence. And it was published in the Adbuster, and it was, I think, one of my favorite billboard. I wanted to design this last example with you guys. And go ahead, Tom.
I was going to say I've never seen the billboard before, but I love it. It's so interesting.
Yeah, if you guys want to really learn more interesting advertisement, I highly recommend this book called Anatomy of Designs. It has really conceptual designs and ad and typography work. So highly recommend to do it. And I have made this cheat sheet, but it's just for this students, which typeface are complementary with each other. Like I used to get always confused when I have a deadline and I want something handy tool in my hand. I made it just for you PDF, but I got inspiration from the book. So it's only for personal use. So if anybody wants it, just DM me on my Mindsy design and I'll give you the PDF. But it shows you like, okay, Garamond is going with Frutiger. No. Like it's a so complimentary. But if you see the red mark, it's awesome. Like a Garamond with Helvetica or Garamond with the Futura. So it helps you to see if you have a quick combination or complementary typeface. So if you guys want, you can DM me anytime. And the next,
That
I
looks
want to
genius,
add.
by the way. Everyone take advantage. I can see Tanvi says, wow, that looks amazing. Isabel says, yes, oh my God. Amy says, yes. So please take advantage. That looks like a great resource. So thank you,
Yeah.
Asha.
But yeah, please, it's only for personal use. And I have learned from the book, and I thought it will be really handy tool in the pocket to keep it. So it's personal use only. But I'll share. I'm happy to share because I was struggling
Amazing.
sometime to find the typeface pairs. So at the end, I want to say about the digital ads. Digital ads are very different, and tons of money is putting in digital ads, and you can see from Facebook and Google that bombards, but the span of attention is very short. But so ads has to be very clear and to the point. And I have this great example. The MailChimp does really quirky job, and it's so beautiful, they add designs. And the Slack ad I see, it's very colorful but very clear space around. So giving a different level of importance, where do your eyes land? It is really important part. What problem is the product or service in advertising is going to solve? Also, it brings attention to the ad and make them interact with you. For example, Airbnb ad. I love it. It's, you're going in that sentiment, you're going in that zone. It's design is taking here very simplistic approach, to the point, very clear and the clean. So
Hmm.
I know my call to action, book to now, my next vacation where I'm booking, it is taking you in that moment,
I know
right?
we're talking about type, but the Airbnb iconography on their logo is just one of my favorites. It's so good.
Yes. Oh, I love their brand story, how the concept they have made, and breakfast in bed
Hmm.
concept, and they had a really good podcast how they developed this brand and stand out with their competitors. Like in brand strategy, we call this as pseudo strategy. Like they were not selling that we are a hotel, we give you this ambience. They just said that we are not the hotel.
Hmm.
We are giving you the experience. So you should really read that case study. It's very interesting how they
I would
develop
love
their
to.
brand.
Mm.
So the digital ads, whenever you're putting the typography or message behind it, make sure it's click worthy ads. User have very less attention span. So what kind of typeface you are using, what kind of message you are putting or visual you are putting, like a MailChimp does really good job in it. You should study. But here, next, I'm going to show you live, like a little bit of my quick ad process in leftover time, how I do it. And I made a quick ad for the Earth Day org. It's a hypothetical ad, but I will walk you through my process.
Looks
Um,
amazing. It's so clever,
yeah.
actually.
Can I share my Photoshop? Okay. Tom, let me know if you see.
Yes, we
Um,
can. Hmm.
so generally, I'm going to make an ad in front of you and show you the process how I start doing it. So whenever I start any project, I think as a recipe, I specialize in food and wellness, so food comes in my life first. Being Indian, food is a big part of our culture. So whenever I'm making any cooking dish, I collect my ingredients. So the same approach is in my design process. Like, what are the copies going in it? What are the ingredients? So I make them ready first from the client and take the message whenever I'm building brand or anything. So in this copy, I need that let's conserve before it melts. So I was talking in Clubhouse last month, and April 22nd was a Earth Day month, and they had an event from April 20 to 22nd with the world leaders for the Earth Day. So as the world returns to normal, we can't go back to the business as usual. Together, we can prevent and the coming disaster of climate change and environmental destruction. And together, we can restore our Earth. So, restore our Earth was their theme, and this was a copy I got from there and logo. So, when I'm thinking, I like to put those things on paper, like what I'm thinking here. Okay, I'm bringing people together. I'm giving awareness. I'm restoring the earth. I'm evoking their emotion to take action. I'm raising the environmental issues. So what I see in my brain, some keywords are jumping. It just visualize that's my process. Like, okay, I'm seeing the earth, I'm seeing the climate change, sky, solar system, some textures of the sky. Then the melts word comes in my mind. The melts. So snow melting. What else can melt? The iceberg can melt. The ice can melt. Ice cream can melt. So I'm just putting those thoughts in my keywords, and then I'm thinking how the hierarchy, I want to collaborate with more visuals, and I want to take the colors from the ocean or solar or earth. And I'm very bad in drawing, so don't judge me, but I just try down my
You look great.
rough ideas, like rough quick thumbnails. Like I'm showing here that penguins, they are going on the strike and saying the earth is melting. Here I'm like showing like, okay, let me make a typeface is like a melting from the earth. But then I thought it's so cliche to show melts with a melting type. So I'm moving more. I'm like, sun is really hot, and it's melting the earth. And then I thought, maybe how about ice cream cone? And instead of that strawberry scoop, let's put the earth scoop there. And highlighting the word melts. But still, I was not sure. So I was playing more typography way here and showing the iceberg in the dry land. I didn't do a good job on drawing the polar bear, but he was having a very limited space of iceberg and every other land is dry. So that was the visual. So I'm highlighting my couple of keywords, earth, iceberg, and iceberg. And then when I start my, this is the final product, but when I start, I always open the new document and I know this is going to be ad. I'm just saying earth melting and I give the name and I'm doing, this is going to be their magazine ad also they can run or as a flyer also. So I'm doing 8.5 by 11 with 300 resolution. I'm putting RGB color, but if it's going to get printed or keeping it, I'm going to change the color mode later. So I'm just creating a basic document first and start doing the ingredients. So whenever I do, I like to create first my basic guide. And I decide this to use Photoshop. Sometimes if it is a typography heavy or a layout heavy, then I go to InDesign. If it is a more text based, and Illustrator, if I'm drawing something for the packaging, I use more Illustrator, the logos or something. But I know this will be more image heavy, so I'm choosing Photoshop. And I'm creating a guide layout. Generally, I have my own guide setup, but I'm thinking here, actually it's good, 6 by 8 grid. And I'm keeping some margins for my indication that text should not overflow the page. So I'm keeping 125 and text. And I'm just putting the guide layout for me, for my visual hierarchies, I can put it well. And the next, I'm just trying to take a color and I had some go to research and take some library and I had liked this image and I have not yet bought it, but I use Adobe Stock, Unsplash or Getty Images when I'm doing my client's work. So I like this color tones a lot. And on my layer, I'm going to create, like, just want to pick a color and, or I use the Cooler website and take the swatches in my library too. So it depends what mood I'm just filling up the space right now with the blue color and I keep this as my color reference. And the first step now, my ingredients are ready. So I'm going to take, okay, I need all this copy. So first I take, so I know that how much space I have, how much copy I have. And I'm just trying to place this. I'm not even thinking right now about the font, but I'm thinking, okay, this can be my headline. I'm typing it on the different layers so I can separate them easily. And I'm not thinking about what typeface right now I'm doing, and I'm reducing by Command Shift shortcut the type. I'm thinking it can be little contrast in the type, but I think the melts word should be highlighted because that's a melt, right? It's a main message that Earth is melting. So I'm again typing on the new layer. And maybe I want to create this like a really dramatic, and I can use the type. Okay, but now it's bothering me because there are like rounded corners. It's very thin. It's not that readable or having an impact. So I went on my font search, and of course, Design Cut had released a new font, Bison, which is really nice font. It has lots of variety. So that makes me like outline and look at the bold. It's so graceful and standing tall. And I didn't wanted the melted and very feminine font. I wanted to be impactful. So I use this font. I find,
Bison's a great
I
font.
like it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite headline fonts.
Yeah, I think the strong strokes, the boldness is really good. And I'm always setting with the optical settings, which helps me. And I see L&T has little oops. I'm trying to see what's happening. Yeah, I think I would do it -35. Let's try. And I'm trying to set little more type, and I can do more finishing as I have more images around it. So I try to build this, but I think the background is boring. So let me first work. So it gives me a little more inspiration. So I'm trying to, let's see, play with the gradation, because this image, I like how it has a lighter and darker tone. So I'm like, okay, let's just do the gradation. And it has from my previous history, but you can see generally, I'm taking all the blue tones. But before applying, I'm thinking, let me take an inspiration. And I made this ice cream graphic. I went on some website, and in my search stock photography, I found it very cool that Earth was melting, and I'm going to finish and use it. But for the time constraint, I have already deleted the background with the magic wand and the magic eraser with the Photoshop Great tool.
What
And
great
I'm going
photo.
to, sorry?
What a great photo.
Yeah, it was perfect. It just took my attention, and I think it was perfect for the ad. But research sometimes takes time, right? Finding a perfect image, or you have to create it. I was thinking
It can
to
take
merge.
hours, right?
Yes, it takes hours. So for this purpose, short period of time, I'm like, okay, this is perfect. But now I'm opening up my guide again, because I want to see where it should. First, I was thinking to set here, but then if I put the melt word here, I'm not having a good I have a space, but it's not going to be that impactful. So I decided, otherwise, not center alignment is always my favorite way. I like to play with negative space. So I'm thinking this is the central. I think it's good way to put right now the graphic, and then I will align melts in the center. My snap guides are always on, which is very handy tool. And I want to see the melting effect through the text. So I'm setting up text where all the drops are a little bit melting. And maybe I'm thinking to increase the size. And maybe I'm doing my Command T and a little bit tighter. I think it should be good. Yeah. And it bothers me. So I'm setting up here. And now I'm playing with my gradation, and I'll take the tones of the color. Maybe if you see, I have taken from the ice cream scoop, and you can adjust your color also. And I'm trying to do very flawless, more darker on the down, and I want to create that effect of lighter to darker. And I'm going to my new layer and applying the gradation. Let me try linear first, what's happening. And I try and play, okay, the linear is more broader on the side, but I like the radial because it creates the focus on the earth. So that's the effect I'm trying to achieve it here. Maybe more. And you can play with it. I can play hours and get it, but this was the basic idea. And then I'm thinking here that ice cream is looking a little flat. Let's make it little, give some love with the drop shadow. And always I try to pick not the black color and try to take the color from the image, which is like a darker tone of the same image, like a navy blue. So it relates with the object. It doesn't look very contrast, and I'm adjusting it a little with the type and to spread it out. So I'm going to reduce it a little. And I can adjust it more, drop shadow later. But yeah, this is how, okay, I'm looking at. And now I'm thinking that background, having that melt word, I want those to be seen through. So I'm thinking to do more like a mask background. But again, right now I'm thinking only focusing on this part. I'm not even seeing my other text right now. I'm just trying to focus here. And I'm thinking to make it like a duplicate layer. And maybe this layer can go down. And I'm thinking, because I have, if you see, I'm zooming it out. I'm pressing Command and clicking on the small icon in the layer. So it creates, if you see, that selection particularly for that object. And I'm going through the melt word and giving the mask effect to it because I want something, if you see, and my favorite brush tool, I will take it and I'm thinking to mask it out. But again, if you can zoom it and make more clarify. I like the X tool for the shortcut, and I use the zoom now. I know that B for brush I'm doing, but okay, X again, because I want that type to be seen enough to have a readability.
Mm.
And you can also right click and make the hardness. Go ahead, Tom, you were saying something?
Yeah, I was just going to say, is it wrong that Earth looks delicious here? I kind of
It
want to try
looks
this ice
delicious.
cream.
Yeah, you can try the ice cream, but so preserve your earth so you can eat more ice cream. And depends on your choice of design, how you want to, how much portion. You don't have to show all, but I think this drop's looking great. So I'm pressing X again because I want to have that white edge of the L. And you can do more finishing if you have extra time, changing the brush hardness and so I'm making sure the melt word is more readable and it's not just. So here will be tricky. If I take this away, how much is E is going to be readable? So you can play more in detail. And I'm zooming out to see that, right? Is it readable or not readable? So that's the way I can do more finishing, that how much part I want to see it, and you can play hours. And but I think taking away that last E will take away. So I'm thinking not to take away that much part. So you can play with it and see how you are liking it. But now I'm going to go a little as the time permit to see that combination type here. So here I'm using Nuneto, but I was thinking to use, let's try Baskerville or how it looks, or maybe Garamond or Tahoma. And I'm trying to just put a headline and I'm trying to see. Okay, let's me give the kerning and tracking little. I don't know how's the chat doing, Tom. Hope I'm keeping up, and if people have any.
Yeah, people are loving it. Let us know in the chat. Are you following along okay? But I really like this technique. It's very interesting typographical treatment, and overall it's quite a simple composition, but I think it's really impactful.
Yeah, it's very simple composition, and I choose it simple because I can show it in half an hour. And I think it's more impactable also, right? Very simple what words are meaning to you. So maybe I want to use, you can play with the type, and I want something very clean font also. So I like the Nuneto too. Maybe I'm going to use more than 2 fonts or 3 here. So yeah, I like this font. Maybe I can do little one self. It's light, and I can go for the regular. And then I'm thinking, oh, okay, I missed to bring the element of my logo. So I need to bring that. And I'm bringing as a smart object with a boundary box here. And I need the logo. So all the ingredients are there. And I'm zooming out and playing with the type. And trying to see, okay, let me put it in my last column. I'm trying to do the right alignment. This layer is moving. Let me lock this so it doesn't bother me.
Johannes says he's working on a commission, but listening and watching this at the same time, and says your voice is so soothing and relaxing.
Oh, thank you. I didn't know that. Okay, and I'm trying to set the type. Now let me switch off the guide. So now look at the font is looking too broad here. Maybe I'm going to do the complementary font. Let's try the Garamond light display, or I think the pro display. Let me see how it looks. And then I'm going to see how my logo is looking, and logo is quite wide, so maybe I can reduce the size a little bit and make sure it is in the margin and not going in the cutting area. But if you see, you need to do the visual alignment with the type, and I don't like this ragged how it is happening here, so maybe I will take one word behind to look more uniform. So those are the decision I'm making to make in the typography, how it looks more uniform. So, okay, I like this way better, but I know this font is looking too small. So I'm going to increasing the size a little bit. Okay, that's better. And I think the date should be highlighted, or maybe the event day is 2021. So I'm just taking my eyedropper tool, and just to have more relevant and relationship, I always pick color from the um, my image here, and I pick the color. I'm going to select it and pressing all backspace and see if that works. And I can do little bold or little lighter color. I think this is not, yeah, maybe so it will be more readable. And I'm zooming out and see. So now what I'm noticing, the Garamond is having edges. It's readable. Generally, I would print it out with the 2-3 combination and see which is more working, or I will just use the sans serif font also. But this is the process. When I'm creating ad and I see if it's specially printing, I will make sure that it's readable. But overall, when I'm seeing the ad, um, it's looking too plain. It's not having a depth. So I want that background to be not that too simple, but maybe having a texture behind it, or create a more depth. And I was going through some texture, and I came across very good collection in Design Cut Bundle, the Noisy Grunge. Um, I like that texture because I want to feel like more space or not too scratchy. So I'm thinking, okay, I think I like this one, or this one better.
I said on the
I
session just before yours, Asha, I'm such a sucker for a good texture. I love textures.
or Oh yeah, my textures are my favorite elements. It creates a depth, it creates a personality, I feel. So I'm trying to use this, but I know the scratches are going to bother me on the top, so I'm just going to flip it. And I'm trying to put that on my background color, so moving the layer, and I want that till the edge. And let's play now with the color, which is Photoshop is powerful with the tool. So I'm just trying to choose the, oh, you see how it creates a little personality, like you are in a space or linear, or the color burn also looks good, or the
Hmm.
multiply also looks good. Let me try overlay sometime. It's too loud. So I judge that way, and this looks more soft. So generally I would print couple of and see how it look. Uh, what do you say, Tom? Let's go with the multiply, or maybe we can do the color burn.
Yeah, I'm gonna trust you. This is your composition.
I think I'm
I feel
just
like
like,
I feel like I always default to overlay and soft light, so I need to branch out more.
yeah. So I'm playing with color burn, and so generally this is how is my process. Like the texture creates little more depth into the image, right? It
Hmm.
enhanced the image. It's not breaking. It's not noisy. It's clean, but at the same time, it's creating the depth. The type is bold and very easy to understand. Um, if I do I want to move this layer a little below. And let's see. Yeah. So it's not bothering. And so this is a simple process. I do the ad and I wanted to share that process with you. And this is how our ad is get ready. So this is my process I wanted to share with you guys, that how the ad and the typography, readability, legibility, creative way of passing the messages, all these things comes in hand, especially studying the fonts and leading and how you put it. So you can do more finishing on this also, but this is a process I wanted to share with you. So I'm open for any question and
So good.
answers if you have. Um, and Tom, I don't know if you can see in the chat, feel free, or
Yes, yeah, we
let me
do
know.
have some questions. I also I have to mention, how cool is that Earth Day logo in the bottom right, that typographic logo with
Yes,
the horizon? It's very, very clever.
yes, this horizon is very clever. It's like dissecting in the center, and the E stroke is really, it has the sharp edges, which I really like it. It's very
Mhm.
clever.
And not only that, Asha's been kind enough, she's actually given a 30% discount, I believe, just for the DC community. So you get an enormous discount on this brand new course, which looks excellent if you are interested in packaging design. But Asha's just going to show us a little bit from it today. And Asha, I know it's a huge achievement to put together something like this. So I'm sure
Yes,
you're feeling very proud of what you put together.
I'm happy and proud. Do you see my screen, Tom?
Yes, yes, indeed.
Okay.
Yeah, we can't hear it, but we can see it, as we thought,
Oh, okay. You
unfortunately.
can see the same video on my landing page,
Yeah,
but you can see the
maybe you could
process.
speak along at the same time and try and match exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just thinking. Sorry, I couldn't hear you because I can hear the video noise.
It's okay. Are you able to mute the video and maybe just talk us through some of what's inside the course at the same time?
Okay. Yeah, sure.
Beautiful packaging there.
So I'm just saying that most exciting part for me this course is like seeing my real designs on the packaging design on the shelves. So when I go in the market, I see my design on the shelf. That's the part I really enjoy and it excites me. So I'm really sharing all my designs here and how to create that packaging design step-by-step experience, right? How do you start the process? What is the workflow? If you're transiting from freelance to a studio, or you're just design student and you want to position yourself as a packaging expert and start your freelance. So this is a course like you can actually see the complete process I'm teaching in what is the workflow of the design project like. I'm also sharing the client questionnaire form, the printing checklist. Like I've been there when the millions of labels have been printed and that had a spelling mistake. So I really make the printing checklist. You have a big department, so if this checklist is not done. So what steps you need to do when you're sending files to print? What kind of questions you should ask your client when you are starting the project? Like if you're designing a sauce product, but in you don't ask the right question and you realize that, oh, this was supposed to be in the refrigerator section, not on the aisle. So your design changes a lot of aspect, what things needs to be seen, and how to develop the concept from design to the end to end, and see your market uh, in the market. I'm teaching like a consumer psychology. What makes the product to pick in 3 seconds of attention from the shelf, right? They have a very less attention, and how to stand out with this so many products around you, how to stand out your design in that market. So I'm now sharing my real client case studies and how I do my processes in step by step, and also empowering students and empowering all the designers and freelancers with worksheets, so they when they go for the project they have those questions ready what to ask and they don't miss things. So this is a course, I think. Let me play and you can see some slide.
Yeah, that would be great. And this whole course is so comprehensive. That's
Yeah.
what I love about what you put together here. You've just talked us through some of what's included, but it really is start to finish.
Yes, ready to go in the market product.
And there are not many courses that cover this. I think if you're into packaging design, there's a real gap right now in terms of the education around this. So any design cutters that are working on packaging design or looking to get into it, I think it's it can be a really, really interesting, really lucrative space. And this course
Yes.
is kind of the blueprint, talking you through it.
I totally like it because, like, I didn't know the practical experience. Like, what are the FDA rules, right? Or rules and regulation? What kind of type size? How do you calculate what needs to go on the packaging parameter, right? But you don't get to learn these things in colleges and those codes. So I learned, and I'm like, okay, our design community need this something, so they don't feel lost and they don't need to read those FDA manuals, which are like tons. So I'm showing how to calculate and put the sizes, what are the rules, what is NFP, what is PDP, all those things I'm covering in this course.
Love it. It looks incredibly thorough, Asha.
Yes, I'm excited.
I know, I can feel it. It's yeah, when you finish something like this, I know how much work goes into it. So
Yes, it is. It's too much work, but this was the project what woke me at night 3 o'clock also, and I can happily work. So when you find your passion, you will realize that you don't feel tired to work for it. You get tired, but you are always excited to jump back and So I'm very excited for this. And as a gratitude offer, we are giving only for design fans $200 off discount only for design cut who are
thank
on
you
this
so
live
much.
event. Yeah. And you can type coupon code DC fans. Actually, when you go to landing page, which I think Kate, team members have shared in the chat, and this must have applied already 200 off for you guys. So the beauty of this course is one more. I would to add my thing saying that I have bought the courses and then I feel sometime after the course I feel lost because I was experiencing that. So for my student, I'm making sure I created a Facebook private community only for the alumni group. So every Monday I go on live. If you go on my landing page, I can share with you. How do I share? I'm like every Monday I go live to help my students and help them if they have any questions regarding their client or any hiccups with the project. Actually, I'm going to, yeah, this is my landing page. You can see about the course, all the modules, what I'm teaching. It's 3 hours, 37 lessons. These are the topics I'm covering. I work with all this client and selling product in Trader Joe's, Sprouts, and Costco. You can see my designs. And yeah, these are the products is there. It's all time available from any devices, and we have weekly live Q&A sessions on Facebook. So if they have any questions
Amazing.
regarding course, I'm there to help as much as I can. And if we are actually doing it in this week, we are doing a bonus workshop, and you can be a part of it, like how to build brand and how to find your target audience. I'm giving the complimentary bonus for my only students because they wanted to learn the audience. So I'll be working 2 hours with them. So yeah, so that's your course, and you can Design Cuts is your site. So I'm pretty
Incredible. Well,
excited to see you in.
yeah, everyone, please do take advantage and do let us know if you sign up. I can see Tanvi has been loving the course. Kim as well has signed up, and we hope that you love working with Asha. Asha, you've been such a great teacher today. You brought so much value. And I know this course is incredible as well. So anyone in our community, again, who's into packaging design, do take advantage. This is a real kind of hand-holding experience from Asha. She's here not only to teach you through the course, but the weekly Q&A, and just make sure that you're not lost, and she can demystify the entire process for you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me here, Tom. I really enjoyed talking with you and community.
That was one of the best sessions we've had. I really mean that. That was amazing. Like, so thorough. I learned so much. So yeah, amazing. Give it up for Asha, everyone.
Thank you.
So
thank you. So happy to hear that. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, look at that. Anne says, this has been so great. These typography sessions have been eye-opening. Yeah, everyone really enjoying it. And you're about to see the comments go crazy if you watch right now.
Yes, now I see lots of comment. Oh, nice, very informative. Great start. Truly appreciate. Thank you, guys. Seeing lots of love hearts. So amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
This is your first session with us, so I forgot to mention we have the best community in the world. They're so nice.
Yes, I see, and I love design community for sure, and how they are always hungry to learn. And I'm still, as a designer, I feel like I want to learn, and I attended couple sessions. So thank you guys for support and love.
It was great.
For sure.
Okay.
But thank you so much for inviting, and live your life best, guys. My brand stands Mindsy. Be mindful. We do not get second chance. So make most of it, learn and grow.
Love that. Thank you so much. It's been lovely to meet you. And we appreciate your time. Have a great day.
Thank you.